So, good day, ma'am. I am here to report the chapter 5 which titled Law on Sales, Agency and Credit Transaction. So, the learning objectives are describe and explain the nature of sales transaction, identify the function and operation of agencies in the industry, and lastly is identify ways of handling credit transaction. So in Article 1458, it says that by the contract of sale, one of the contracting parties obligate himself to transfer ownership of and to deliver a determinate thing and other to pay, therefore a price certain in money or its equivalent. So there are 7 characteristics of contract of sale. First one is namely consensual, bilateral, principal, unirus, commutative, nominate, and transmissive. So, consensual is a contract of sale is perfected by a mere consent. No form is prescribed for the perfection in a contract of sale, except in the following instances. First is to covered under the statute of fraud, which must appear in writing, otherwise the sale is considered unenforceable. And second is sale of real property made through an agent, in which case the agent authority. Bilateral, because it gives a rise to reciprocal obligation. Principal, because it can stand by itself without need of another contract. Unirus, because the consideration for each party is the delivery of the thing or the payment of the price. Commutative, because what the vendor or seller delivers is considered equivalent of the price paid by the vendee or buyer. Nominate, because it has designated name under the Civil Code of the Philippines, which is sale. Transmissive, because the vendor transfer ownership of the subject matter to the vendee. Requisite of a contract of sale. First is consent, second is object or subject matter, and lastly is cost or consideration. So consent is manifested as the meeting of offer, which must be certain, and the acceptance, which must be absolute, upon the thing and the cost, which are the constitute the contract. So the following are the disqualified to enter in a contract: husband and wife, because a sale between husband and wife in violation of Article 1490 is inexistent and void from the beginning, because such contract is expressly prohibited by law. The following person cannot acquire by purchase, even at public auction or judicial auction, either in person or through the mediations of another object or subject matter. The requisites are as follows: A. It must be existing 1611 or possible. B. It must be licit. And C. It must be determinate. In a contract of sale, the thing and the price are the subject matter. The price must be understood to be in money or its equivalent. Cost or consideration. It represents the why of the contracts. The essential reason which moves the contracting parties to enter into a contract. For the seller, the consideration is the price, certain in money or its equivalent. For the buyer, the consideration is the thing. Effect of loss of the object in a contract of a sale. So in Article 1480, any injury to or benefit it from the thing sold after the contract has been perfected from the moment of the perfection of the contract to the time of delivery. Article 1262. An obligation which consists in delivery of a determinate thing shall be extinguished if it should be lost or destroyed without the fault of the debitor and before he has incurred in delay. Article 1496. The ownership of the thing sold is acquired by the vendee from the moment it is delivered to him in any manner of the ways specified in Article 1407 to 1501 or any other manner signifying an agreement that the possession is transferred from the vendor to the vendee. Sale of personal property payable in installment. Article in a contract of a sale of a personal property, the price of which is payable in installment, the vendor may exercise any of the following remedies. First, the double sale. In Article 1544, if the same thing should have been sold to different vendees, the ownership shall be transferred to the person who may have first taken possession in good faith if it should be movable property. Second is the Pacto de Retro-Sale Conventional Redemption. In Article 1601, conventional redemption shall take place when the vendor receives the right to repurchase the thing sold with the obligation to comply with the provision of Article 1616 and other stipulation which may have been agreed upon. Third is the obligation of the vendor. So in Article 1495, the vendor is bound to transfer the ownership of a deliverer as well as a warrant the thing which is the object of the sale. Article 1496. The ownership of the thing is sold is acquired by the vendee from the moment it is delivered from him. Article 1497 says that the thing shall be understood as delivered when it is placed in the control and possession of the vendee. Obligations of the vendee. In Article 1582, the vendee is bound to accept delivery and pay the price of the thing sold at the time and place stipulated in the contract. Action for breach of contract of sale. Extrajudicial remedies. 1 is of the buyer. The buyer need not pay unless there is delivery. The buyer may reject improper deliveries. The buyer may suspend payment if he is distributed in a possession of or ownership of the thing or has reasonable grounds to fear such disturbance. For the seller, vendor is not bound to deliver the thing sold if the vendee has not paid the price. Installment sales or Ricto and Masida law. Judicial remedies. For the buyer, damage or breach of contract, and for the seller is the recovery of the price, damage in case of bad faith. So the law on agency. Article in 1868 state that by the contract of agency, a person bind himself to render some services or to do something in representation or on behalf of another with the consent of authority of the latter. Liability of the principal and the agent. So Article 1883 says that if an agent acts in his own name, the principal has no right to action against the person with whom the agent has contracted, neither have such persons against the principal. Law on credit transaction. Companies in the tourism industry are likely to face debt. Article 1933, by the contract of loan, one of the parties delivers to another either something not consumable so that the latter may use the same for a certain time and return it, in which case the contract is called a comodatum, or money or other consumable thing, upon the condition that the same amount of that same kind and quality shall be paid, in which case the contract is simply called loan or matum. Comodatum is essentially gratuitous. Simple loan may be gratuitous or with a stipulation to pay interest. Simple loan or matum. Article 1956. No interest shall be due unless it has been expressly stipulated in writing. Pactum commissurum. Article 2088. The creditor cannot appropriate the things given by way of pledge or mortgage or dispose of them. Any stipulation to the contrary is null and void. And that's all. Thank you.